My mom sent a message. We no longer trust you. I respond, understood. 2 days later, their lawyer reached out to me. In a panic. For 3 years, I'd been helping my parents manage their rental properties. They had 4 houses scattered across town that they bought back in the 90s as investments. My dad was getting older and didn't want to deal with tenants anymore, so I took over everything. Rent collection, maintenance calls, lease agreements, tax documents, all of it. I kept detailed spreadsheets of every single expense and payment. Every month, I'd transfer their portion of the rent money into their account and keep my management fee, which was way less than what a real property manager would charge. My sister Nicole had always been jealous of how close I was with our parents. She lived 2 states away and barely called them except on holidays. But last November, she came home for Thanksgiving and everything changed. She started asking questions about the rental properties. How much were they making? Where was all the money going? Why was I the only one with access to the accounts? I showed her the spreadsheets, explained the expenses, and proved that everything was documented, but Nicole wasn't satisfied. She pulled my mom aside and I heard her through the wall. She was telling mom that I was probably skimming money off the top, that I couldn't be trusted with that much cash flow, that they needed to audit everything I'd done. My mom didn't defend me. She just listened to Nicole plant all these seeds of doubt. 2 days after Thanksgiving, I got a text from my mom. We've been thinking about the properties and we no longer trust you to manage our finances. We need all the account information and documents by end of week. I stared at that message for a solid 5 minutes. After 3 years of handling everything, of fixing toilets at midnight and dealing with nightmare tenants, this is what I got. No conversation, no asking my side, just Nicole whispering poison in their ears and them believing it instantly. I typed back one word, understood. Then I started gathering everything they asked for. Every login, every password, every document, every receipt. I put it all in a folder, dropped it off at their house, and walked away. Didn't argue, didn't try to defend myself, just gave them exactly what they wanted and removed myself from the situation completely. My mom called twice that week, but I didn't answer. Nicole got what she wanted, so she could figure it out. Except Nicole had no idea what she was doing. Neither did my parents. They'd forgotten that rental properties aren't just about collecting rent checks. There's a whole system. On day 2 of their new arrangement, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was Richard, my parents' lawyer, and he sounded panicked. Your parents are being audited by the IRS. We need 3 years of rental income documentation, and you're the only one who knows where everything is. I almost left. The IRS letter had apparently arrived the same day I dropped off those documents. My parents tried to find what they needed in the folder I gave them, but they couldn't make sense of my filing system. Richard said they'd been trying to call me, but I wasn't picking up. Now they had 10 days to respond to the IRS, or they'd face serious penalties. I told Richard I'd given them everything they asked for. If they couldn't understand it, that wasn't my problem anymore. Richard got quiet. Then he said my parents were potentially looking at a $50,000 penalty if they couldn't prove their expenses and deductions. Maybe more if the IRS thought they were hiding income. I let that sink in. Then I said I'd think about it and hung up. My dad called me an hour later. Not mom, not Nicole. Dad. His voice was shaking. He apologized for not trusting me, for listening to Nicole instead of asking me directly. He said they were scared and didn't know what to do. The IRS stuff was way over their heads. I told him I'd help with the audit on one condition. Nicole never gets involved in their finances again. She could visit, she could call, but she didn't get a say in how they managed their money or who they trusted to help them. Dad agreed immediately. Apparently Nicole had already tried to take over the properties herself and lasted exactly 4 days before she realized it was actual work. I spent the next week organizing everything for their audit, created a master document explaining every transaction, every deduction, every repair expense. The IRS accepted it without any issues. No penalties. My parents thanked me and asked if I'd take over the properties again. I said no. I'd help them find a real property management company, but I was done being their unpaid worker who could be fired the second someone whispered doubt. They understood. Nicole never apologized, but she also never questioned me again.